machine learning actually. So there are 3 types of machine learning. Actually 4 different categories are there. The first one is supervised. So supervised in the sense what? The class column is given. Okay, so we have some features and one more, that is class column. So in that class column, like otherwise supervised machine learning is further divided into 2 categories. The first one is classification, another one is regression. So what is the meaning of classification? Class column will be the nature of the class column will be categorized. Okay, class column actually categorized data. So maybe it's a binary or multi. And in regression type of algorithms, actually class column numerical in nature. Okay, so let me just start with the actually decision tree. So what is decision tree? It's a one of the classification algorithm. So हम लोग supervised machine learning से start करते हैं. Supervised in the sense what? One supervisor is available. Okay, supervised machine learning means one supervisor is available. So supervisor in the sense I mean to say we have some features of our data. Sorry, we have features of our actually what were the domain. Like आप medical की बात करें तो आपका मान लो ऐसा मुझे करना था कि I want to just predict something. Otherwise I want to develop a model for cancer operations. Okay, so मेरे पास उसके सब का सब data available होगा. Like जैसे मेरे पास एक mega store है, उनका मुझे actually business model develop करना है. कि which item will be which items will be in demand after few months. Otherwise after in the next month which item will be in demand. So मुझे क्या करना था, उसका previous data लेके मुझे actually एक model create करना है और prediction करना है. So in that सबसे पहली चीज अगर मेरे पास कुछ data available है. So data in the sense consider मेरे पास एक item है. Let us just say I have a particular type of shop. Let us just say we have peer shop. Okay, और उसके ऊपर actually उसके मुझे कुछ attributes available थे. Like last month में इतना selling था. Otherwise previous year में January to December में per month का selling मेरे पास available. Okay, so as per the data मुझे कुछ outcome बताना है कि भाई शॉप का ये प्राइस था, ऐसा कुछ मार्केट में सीजन रहा है, and this is the selling. So मेरे पास 3 कॉलम था. जनवरी, देन उसके 3 वैल्यू, फरवरी उसके 3 वैल्यू, मार्च उसके 3 वैल्यू, एक्सेट्रा. So as per that मुझे एक्चुअली बताना था कि okay, what will be the next thing, like selling कितना होगा. So it's a numerical value, it's a continuous. मुझे prediction करना है, but that's a continuous that comes under the umbrella of actually regression. But let I say कि मुझे ऐसा करना था क्योंकि I have a employees data. Otherwise let I just say I have Surat citizen data. Okay, Indian citizen, but consider I want to just consider only one region, that is actually Surat in Gujarat. तो मेरे पास सूरत के हर एक बंदे का डेटा है जिन्होंने एक्चुअली टैक्सेशन में चीटिंग की है. ओके, उन्होंने टैक्स पे करने के टाइम चीटिंग की है. आई वांट टू जस्ट प्रेडिक्ट दैट. सो आंसर विल बी यस और नो. एज पर द डेटा मेरा आंसर एक्चुअली होगा आइदर यस और नो. So what is my requirement? That's this type of algorithm comes under the actually umbrella of actually decision. Sorry, not the decision, actually classification. So classification का पहला approach है decision. So what we will cover in this? So what is classification? Then we will start learn with the actually decision tree learning. Then ID3C 4.5 algorithm and some this type of the classification algorithm we will discuss. And finally we will just check कि हमने algorithm के through इसमें से कोई भी algorithm use करके हमने जो model create किया वो मॉडल कितना एक्यूरेट है. ओके, सो फाइनली वी विल जस्ट लर्न क्लासिफिकेशन एक्यूरेसी मैट्रिक्स. सो दैट्स दैट. सो व्हाट इज क्लासिफिकेशन? सो व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय क्लासिफिकेशन? क्लासिफिकेशन में हम लोग टास्क कैसे करेंगे? क्लासिफिकेशन राइट नाउ वी नो इट्स अ सुपरवाइज्ड मशीन लर्निंग एल्गोरिथम. ओके, इट्स अ टाइप ऑफ सुपरवाइज्ड मशीन लर्निंग एल्गोरिथम. एंड इन क्लासिफिकेशन एक्चुअली क्लास कॉलम इज अवेलेबल. In classification actually class column is available. So this thing we know. But now how to work with this classification algorithm? The first thing is, consider we have actually set of records, we have a set of data. Okay, in this data we have some features and one column is actually a class column. Okay, like बहुत सारे मान लो features. Let I consider I have total 10 columns, but if you are talking about the classification, then last column or first column, दोनों में से कोई भी है, either last or first. It's a output column, it's a class column. Remaining 9 are the actually features column. So what we will do? So first of all, what we will do, first of all, we will actually divide this data into 2 parts, training part and testing part. And we will just divide this data into 2 parts, training part and testing part. Now training and the generally ratio will be 80-20. मान लो आपके पास 100 records and 80 records we will use for actually train the model, and 20% of 20 records we will use to test the accuracy. So now finally, in this data set, we have some features. Consider we have n number of n number of columns are there, then n minus 1 are the feature columns, and last one is nothing but a class column or output column. Now we will use these records. सबसे पहले डेटा सेट लिया, उसमें null values वगैरह अदरवाइज जो भी मिसिंग वैल्यू थी उसके साथ डीलिंग करेंगे, एंड आफ्टर दैट उस डेटा सेट को डिवाइड करेंगे. डिवाइड करने के बाद हम लोग कोई भी एक क्लासिफिकेशन एल्गोरिथम यूज करके एक मॉडल क्रिएट करेंगे. फाइनली मॉडल क्रिएट करने के बाद हम उसमें एक्चुअली ट्रेनिंग जो भी हमारा टेस्टिंग डेटा है उसको पास करेंगे, एंड वी विल जस्ट फाइंड द एक्यूरेसी. सो लेट मी जस्ट गो थ्रू द स्टेप्स. So first of all, given a collection of records that is actually known as training set. Now each record contains a set of attributes, okay, and one of the attribute is the class column. So if consider you have n columns, then n minus 1 are actually attributes, or you can say that features, and one column is a class column. Find a model for class attributes as a function of the values of other attributes. Okay, so find a model in the sense we want to just find the relationship between the input features and the output column. ओके, सो हम कंसीडर एक अपना क्लास कॉलम था, बाकी सब इनपुट फीचर्स थे, तो मुझे एक ऐसा मॉडल चाहिए जो इन दोनों के बीच में कुछ फंक्शन, कुछ रिलेशन, कुछ मैपिंग फाइंड आउट करे. ओके, सो व्हाट इज द फाइनली अपना गोल क्या है, व्हाट इज द फाइनली टारगेट? द टारगेट इज एक्चुअली प्रीवियसली अनसीन रिकॉर्ड्स शुड बी असाइंड ए क्लास एज एक्यूरेसी एज पॉसिबल. सो इन शॉर्ट आई मीन टू से कि नाउ कंसीडर आपने एक मॉडल क्रिएट किया, आफ्टर दैट व्हाट इज आवर नेक्स्ट रिक्वायरमेंट? वी हैव राइट नाउ सम डेटा, एंड अब वो डेटा को मुझे एक्चुअली प्रेडिक्शन करना था. तो अब मेरे पास जो भी डेटा अवेलेबल है, मैंने एक बार मॉडल क्रिएट कर दिया बाय यूजिंग द ट्रेनिंग सेट. नाउ मेरे पास कुछ डेटा अवेलेबल है, उस डेटा को उस मॉडल के अंदर मैं पुट करूं, देन आई वांट अ क्लास कॉलम. मुझे उसका आउटपुट चाहिए. ओके, एज मैक्स एक्यूरेसी जितना हो सके उतना मैक्सिमम आपको मेंटेन करना है. सो प्रीवियसली अनसीन रिकॉर्ड्स, प्रीवियसली अनसीन इन द सेंस जिसका हम लोग को क्लास नहीं पता, ओके, शुड बी असाइंड अ क्लास एज एक्यूरेटली एज पॉसिबल. And one more thing is, जैसे हम लोगों ने ट्रेनिंग एंड टेस्टिंग डेटा किया हुआ है, सो टेस्टिंग डेटा को हम लोग यहाँ पे अप्लाई करेंगे, एंड अनसीन इन द सेंस जिसको अभी तक हम लोगों ने मॉडल डेवलप करने के टाइम यूज नहीं किया, मॉडल डेवलप करने के टाइम जिसको हमने यूज नहीं किया, वो डेटा इस मॉडल में पास करेंगे. वी विल जस्ट फेच द आउटकम. उस आउटकम को एक्चुअली अपने क्लास कॉलम, मतलब जो ऑलरेडी मेरे पास अगर टेस्टिंग डेटा है तो टेस्टिंग डेटा इन द सेंस व्हाट, जो भी मेरे पास रिकॉर्ड्स था उसको मैंने डिवाइड किया हुआ है, तो उसमें भी मेरे पास क्लास कॉलम अवेलेबल थी, बट आई विल नॉट पास दैट क्लास कॉलम टू माय डेवलप्ड मॉडल. तो डेवलप मॉडल कुछ मुझे रिटर्न करेगा, उसको मैं कंपेयर करूंगा अपने एग्जिस्टिंग क्लास मॉडल के साथ, एग्जिस्टिंग क्लास कॉलम के साथ, एंड विल फाइंड द एक्यूरेसी एक्चुअली. Okay, so a test data is used to determine the accuracy of the model. Usually the given data set is divided into two parts, training and testing. With training set, we generally build the model, and testing set is just used to validate that. So that's that. Generally, we will just follow this thing. Okay. So now, consider this is a data set. So totally, I have 15 records I have. So what I did actually, मैंने उसको divide किया. I just divide that in actually 10 and 5 records. So first 10 records I will use to actually just train my model. And after that, after the training purpose, after जैसे मेरा model completely developed होगा, I will use these 5 records to test it. So what we will do, either of the learning algorithm we will apply, जैसे कि decision tree, let I just say like Hunt algorithm. Like consider मैं decision tree की बात करूँ, so let I just apply Hunt's algorithm for the decision tree, or C4.5, or gain algorithm, whatever the algorithm you can just choose as per your requirement, as per the data. Okay, so let us just say I choose either of the algorithm, and finally I will just use this data set to अपना training data set and to actually train the model, learn model in the sense it's a trained model. After that, whenever the model will be created, I will save this model. Okay, जैसे मेरा model save हो जाता है, just throw out this data. अब मुझे इस data की कोई जरूरत नहीं. Okay, so finally I have a model. Now use this model and apply this apply this testing data and just find out the accuracy. Okay, so that's that. This is actually pictorial graph how the classification actually works, or how the supervised machine learning actually works. Okay, and guys, this is different than the actually like machine learning algorithms. So it's different than the actually software engineering algorithm. What about the software engineering in the sense? Consider मुझे यहाँ पे हम लोगों ने एक लिखा था कि like we want to just develop a function. So here we want to just develop the function. Okay, so a model for the class attributes as a function of values to other attributes. In the sense, we have two sets. Actually, one is the feature and second one is the class column. So you need to find the relationship between this. In short, a relationship in the sense, let us say y equal to f of x. So x is nothing but an input data, y is nothing but a class column. तो मुझे f फाइंड आउट करना है कि x की वैल्यू मैं पुट करूं तो मुझे y मिलना चाहिए. Okay, so but this is not too much accurate. Accurate in the sense, अगर मैं आपको ऐसा बोलूं कि okay, just define one function in Microsoft, in .NET. Just define one function in .NET. Or let me just say in Microsoft Office, we have actually lots of functions like to bold the data, to italic the data, to underline the text, and etc. So मान लीजिए मेरे पास वो bold वाला एक option, एक tool है. I will just select the text and press Ctrl B or select that bold tool. What it does, it just make a like it just bold my selected text. So that's always accurate in the sense जब भी मैंने डेटा को select किया और bold वाले बटन को click किया तो it's a toggle one, bold होगा तो normal text है तो plain text है तो bold, वो convert करके देगा. So it always works. So that is software engineering functions. Okay, जो हम लोग generally as a programmer type करते हैं, हम लोग programmer as a develop करते हैं. So that's actually always accurate. But machine learning algorithms are like you can say that it's different than the software engineering. It's not always accurate. आपको 100% accuracy नहीं देगा. So you want to check, which I consider I have 10 algorithms, and I want to check which are actually fit on my data set. Okay, so what we have to do, firstly we have to create a model by using either of the algorithms. So we can use either of the algorithm over here. You have to just create the model, pass the testing data, and find out the accuracy. Okay, so ये जो question mark है हम लोग ये value provide नहीं करेंगे. We will just apply the model and find out this one. But this data we have already available. Okay, उनको compare करेंगे. We will find the accuracy, and finally we say, this model is more accurate compared to others on given data set. Okay, so it's different than the software engineering. So यहाँ पे हम लोग को 100% output नहीं मिलने वाला. So now this is something about the classification. Now someone's काफी स्टूडेंट्स को एक्चुअली क्लासिफिकेशन और क्लस्टरिंग में काफी प्रॉब्लम्स होता है. सो व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन क्लासिफिकेशन एंड क्लस्टरिंग? सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, क्लासिफिकेशन इज एक्चुअली सुपरवाइज्ड मशीन लर्निंग एल्गोरिथम. Clustering comes under the unsupervised machine learning algorithm. So in clustering, we will have not an actually outcome, otherwise class column. उसमें feature column होंगे, but हमारे पास class column available नहीं होगा. But in classification, always we have actually class column. Okay, in a training data set, we have a class column is available. But in clustering, we have no label column or class column. And finally, what clustering algorithm will do, it just divide the data set into small parts in a small group. That is actually known as cluster, as per the common features between all the data. And what about the classification? The model will generate the outcome. Okay, model just and the put करोगे, it will just generate the outcome. So actually, supervised classification machine learning algorithm is actually used to predict the outcome. And what about the unsupervised? It just put the data in either of the cluster. Okay, so let me just go through this one. So supervised machine learning classification is actually supervised machine learning algorithm. Supervision in the sense the training data, maybe it's an observation or measurements are accompanied by the label. So actually, in short, I mean to say, वहाँ पे class available होगा. And new data is classified based on the training set. In short, you just predict it. Okay, it comes under the actually which class. Actually, यहाँ पे difference का इसलिए problem है because classification में भी हमारे पास label होंगे. So let I just say, like some guy cheat to government in a tax payment, and some guy didn't cheat. So मेरे पास दो class है, cheat or not. So in short, yes or no. So I have two labels. Okay, मेरे पास दो label. Otherwise, let I say कि मेरे पास यहाँ पे actually like I have some student group of just pass the BTech. So मेरे पास एक चीज थी कि like some guys got the job, some guys didn't get the job, and some guys actually starts their startups. तो मेरे पास तीन actually label है कि आपका engineering continues to चल रहा है. So this is the graph. So ये बंदा actually इसको job मिलेगा, नहीं मिलने वाला, ये बंदा actually like खुद का startup करने वाला. So I have three values. So like यहाँ पे mixer होने के chances ज्यादा है. So this is clustering. Clustering भी actually group में divide करता है. But what clustering does, उसमें actually पहले से label नहीं होते. वो features के हिसाब से, उनके data के हिसाब से label generate करता है. But what about classification? उसमें actually पहले से data available होता है. Okay. So in future अगर आपके पास कुछ नया data available है, so our algorithm, our model will put that one in either of the label. Otherwise, it will just assign either of the label to that. But in clustering, जैसे आप कोई नया डेटा दोगे तो उसको फीचर्स को लेके एक्सट्रैक्ट करके उसको कोई पर्टिकुलर ग्रुप के अंदर पुट करेगा. So that's that. So in clustering, the label is unknown. given a set of measurements, observation within the aim of establishing that the existence of classes, clusters, classes or clustering data. Okay, so उसको just divide करना, that's clustering, and अगर आप divide नहीं करना चाहते, उसको label assign करना चाहते, that is classification. Now another thing is classification versus regression. So we know classification actually works on the categorized data, regression works on the continuous data, in short numerical form. So generally classification में actually हम लोग 2 लेवल 3 लेवल के साथ वर्क करें, तो अगर 2 levels के साथ वर्क कर रहे हैं, that is known as binary classification, otherwise it is known as multi-classification actually. So consider मेरे पास actually like I have a result, I have a actually percentage of the students as the outcome. So consider मैं उसको 5 category में divide कर रहा हूँ, like less than 50%, 50 to 60%, in between 60 to 70, in between 60 to 70, in between 70 to 80, and then I consider greater than 80. So I have 4 categories. Okay, मेरे पास total 4 categories है. So data वैसे देखें तो data numerical है, outcome जाएगा numerical में, but मैंने उसको different class में divide किया. So maybe हो सकता है कि data numeric हो, but some limited outcomes are there. Okay, like countable outcomes are there 4 or 5, then you can say that these are nothing but categorized in nature. These are nothing but categorized in nature. Okay, so it doesn't matter कि data का actually like data का like जो भी आपके पास available class column है, वो actually numerical type हो, मतलब उसका data type integer या float ऐसा कुछ हो. It doesn't matter. अगर आपके पास integer data भी है, but only 2 or 3 outcomes are there, then you can say that oh, this is nothing but an actually classification approach. You can just apply the classification approach. But if you have lots of data, consider मेरे पास class column में different 100 values, then you cannot apply the classification approach. That's actually regression. Okay, so like represents a variable class have only 2 categories, or maybe it has a multiple categories. Okay, so like generally I want to say, oh, if this is true or false, or correct or wrong. So that is actually generally it may be actually 0 or 1. So 0 and 1 actually is numerical in nature, but simply like it has actually countable outcomes. So countable outcomes in the sense that comes under the classification. But if I say, okay, I have a response variable or class variable, but that's continuous in nature, that is in Microsoft stock price value, otherwise Microsoft stock price tomorrow. So it will be it may be anything actually. So that's actually regression algorithm. Okay, so that's that. Now another thing is, let me just go through this one, decision tree learning. Let me start with that. So what is classification? I hope that's clear. What is classification? I hope that is clear. Now the another thing is nothing but in decision tree. So the first, the simplest algorithm of the classification, that is actually decision tree. That is most most popular and simplest one. Okay, that is popular because it is quite simple, and one more, you can just explain to anyone about this algorithm. So if I want to teach you a decision tree, internal mechanism of the decision tree, then it's possible. Okay, so that's not complex. Possible in the sense you can explain any algorithm, but the thing is decision tree is quite like easy to explain. Okay, so that it's most popular. Okay, so now the thing is what we have to do. So what is decision tree? It's a classification algorithm. So classification in the sense it comes under the actually supervised. That means you have a set of attributes, and one attribute will be in class algorithm or labeled algorithm. So one attribute is actually either class or label. Okay, class column is also known as labeled column. So outcome column था, उसको आप label भी बोल सकते. Now decision tree. So what we have to do, like given a collection of examples. So here we will have 2 things, x and f of x. What is x? That is nothing but a set of attributes. What about f of x? That is nothing but a labeled column or a class column. So now this is the input. Now what's your expected outcome? My expected outcome is actually a tree. मुझे एक ऐसा model बनाना है कि जहाँ पे मैं actually set of attributes, in the sense I will pass my data. Okay, so consider these are the value of x. Consider these are the value of x, and this is nothing but in value of f of x. Okay, class is nothing but in value of f of x. F of x in the sense जो भी आपने input किया, उसके साथ outcome, उसका related outcome क्या था? So attributes will be considered as x, and f of x is actually nothing but a label column or class column. So I will pass this data to my model, and my expected outcome is I want a tree. I want a tree as an outcome. Okay, so what is that thing? We will just go through next 4 to 5 slides, so it will be more clear. Okay, so my outcome is return. I expected return is a function h. What is that? H is nothing but a decision tree. Okay, and after that, I can just apply some testing algorithms. Like let I just say t-test I can apply, or hypothesis testing I can apply for to check the accuracy. Okay, so it just to say, okay, this is the relationship. जब आप उसको data pass करेंगे, then it just announce something, and that announcement is nothing but a hypothesis. Let I say I have some previous data, हम hypothesis में discuss कर चुके हैं. Like let I say कि मेरे पास previously experience था कि generally morning में जो सूरत स्टेशन से बॉम्बे स्टेशन जाने वाला डबल डेकर है वो 10 मिनट जल्दी आता है. ओके, जो ट्रेन हमारे पास था वो 10 मिनट्स एज पर द टाइम, वो एक्चुअली 10 मिनट जल्दी पहुंचता है उनसे. ओके, सो दैट्स माय प्रीवियस डेटा, दैट्स माय एक्सपीरियंस. ओके, अब उस डेटा के हिसाब से अगर मैं कुछ एल्गोरिथम डेवलप करूं, उस डेटा के हिसाब से अगर मैं कुछ एल्गोरिथम डेवलप करूं, so I want to just predict something. Okay, आज भी ट्रेन 10 मिनट जल्दी आएगा. Okay, so that's my hypothesis. That's my hypothesis. When someone wants to check, oh, this hypothesis is like with how how much percentage this hypothesis is actually accurate. Okay, किसी को उसको check करना है कि कितना accurate है, कितने percentage के साथ ही accurate है. So guys, जैसे अपना यहाँ पे model create होगा, so that model is nothing but an hypothesis. उसको आप hypothesis बोल सकते हो. Now you can just check how, like with how much percentage this is actually accurate. Okay, with how many percentage this is actually accurate. So you can just check that thing by using the t-test algorithm or hypothesis algorithm, by either using Python or R. But the thing is, machine learning provides actually internal testing algorithms, so you have to worry about that t-testing or hypothesis testing. Some predefined testing algorithms are there. Using that, you can just check the actually accuracy of your actually model. So what's model is actually, it just predicts something. That's it, nothing else. So now, what is an input? Input may be anything. Maybe it's an object. Maybe it's an object or situation described by a set of attributes. आप एक value input दे सकते हो. You can just apply bulk of values as an input. Attributes in the sense you can say the features. And what's the outcome? Outcome is a decision tree. Okay, so like अगर आप model को run करते हो, then outcome will be yes or no, correct or wrong, 1 or 0, something like that. So let me start. So what's the application of this decision tree? Decision tree कहाँ पे use होता है? So guys, it's pretty simple as we discussed. So उसके बहुत सारे applications हैं. Let I say, like it's used to predict the tumor cells, as either of the disease of the tumor cells are that, like benign or malignant. Okay, so it's just check. So this is a classification. Either of the disease, otherwise either of the states are there. Either it's a type of A or either it's a type of B. It is just used to classify a credit card actually transaction. Maybe it's a fraud or it's illegal. Okay, it's just used to classify a secondary structure of the protein. So here we have three categories actually: alpha helix, beta sheet, and random coil. So we have three categories, but that is also actually a classification approach. And like consider some actually like a newspaper, otherwise actually online news channels wants to just classify the news in either of the category. Maybe it's in finance category, maybe it comes under the weather category, or entertainment or sports, and etc. etc. So here we have more than one classifications. Okay, maybe approach 5 to 6, so like 8 to 10 classifications will be there. Okay, so these are the approach of the decision tree. Decision tree actually, it's most popular. Reason is it's quite easy. So now let me start. So let me take a simple example of the decision tree. Consider this is my training data. So here we have 10 records actually, and from this we will just use these three categories. The three columns we will use as a feature. We will not consider this ID column, because ID column is generally, you can say it's a serial number. Okay, just ignore that. So we will consider these three things. Actually, the first one is refund, and you can just say it's categorized in nature. So it's categorized in nature. The second one is marital status. It's also categorized data. And last one is actually taxable income, that is actually continuous in nature. Okay, so three columns we have, and this is a class column, cheat. So this is the decision column. It's a labeled column, you can say, class column, you can say. As here it has only two possible values actually: either that particular people or a particular guy just cheat the government or not to pay the taxes. Okay, so only two outcomes are there. So that comes under the actually decision tree. Okay, so now like this is my input, And as I told you, its outcome will be a decision tree. So this is my outcome. So actually this is not the outcome, but this is the model. Okay, so ये हमारा input है. तो आप अगर decision tree के कोई भी algorithm को ये input देंगे, it just return a model. उस model को आपको save करना है, which is used to predict the future, like predict the outcome of some like inputted data. Okay, so ये मुझे model as an outcome मिलेगा अगर मैं algorithm कोई भी use करूँ. So this is the model which I will get as an output, and I will just store this model. So that's that. So now observe one thing, guys. So this is the actually concept how decision tree works. So what you have to do, this is the input data, use tree indexion algorithm. Okay, in a previous in some previous slide we just use classification algorithm over here, but now the fix, like we just fixed, right now we are going to use a decision tree algorithm. So there are lots of decision tree algorithms. So from that, use either of the decision tree algorithm, train the model with inputted data, save the model, and apply the testing data on model and find that. So now, and finally, whenever you will have an outcome, consider this is my outcome, otherwise this is my model. Now input some data, and please find the outcome. Okay, so let me just apply this. So here I have actually refund is known, like just okay, firstly just observe one thing. Here we have two types of nodes. Some are marked as a yellow and some are marked as a something like blue. Okay, so I have two colors of actually nodes. The first one is refund, someone is no, yes, and something like that. So in short, two colors nodes we have. So guys, जो भी yellow node है, these are actually just used to represent actually feature. So let me just consider over here. So here first column is actually refund. My first column is actually refund. Second one is marital status, and third one is taxable income. So just check one thing: refund, marital status, and taxable income are marked as yellow. Okay, are marked as yellow. So these are actually known as attribute node or feature node, it is known as. And here some nodes are actually no, yes, no as a data and some different color. So this yes, no, वगैरह वगैरह जो भी node मेरे पास है, these are actually a leaf node. These are actually a leaf node, and this leaf node are actually known as decision. Okay, इनको actually decision बोला जाता है. That's it. Okay, just observe one thing. Here we have two types of node. Some are marked as yellow, some are marked as another color, and yellow nodes are actually known as like a root node, or these are used to just represent features. And another nodes are actually known as decision node, and these are always a leaf node actually. Okay, they are always a leaf node actually. So now consider this is the outcome. Now how to develop that, we will just go through in some news in few slides, so we will get an idea how to develop this decision tree, and after that we will just write the Python code for that. But now the question is, now will this work or not? So let me just check. So just apply this data. Just apply this data to this value, sorry, to this tree. The first thing is refund is no. Refund is no. The first attribute is refund is no, just a refund. So no, in the sense we have to go through a right branch. Okay, right hand side branch we will to just travel. So refund is no. Then now check the marital status. So marital status is married. So married in the sense go to this line. So answer is actually no. So that guy will not cheat. So we have to check the actually taxable income. Okay, so like this is pretty simple actually. So first of all, we have to check refund is given or not. So answer is no. So finally, we have to check the another thing, that is marital status. So that is also married. So decision is making, and you can just find out the answer. Oh, that guy didn't cheat actually. You can assign the class value, that is no. So that's that. So that is actually decision tree. How decision tree works actually. Okay. So now the next thing is. Now how decision tree works. So what we have to do? Firstly, we have to create a model. Okay, we have to create a model, and to create a model, we have to use either of the algorithm, and we will use this data actually. Okay, so guys, let me start with the first algorithm.